Welcome everybody to my second Sunday sermon, and appreciate all you guys who watched the first week and those of you who are watching again today. So just real briefly, so what this is all about is basically I'm not here to preach to you guys, just I want to teach some lessons that I've learned in my life that have helped me just take my life to another level, not only on the business side of things, but personal side, personal development with my wife, my children, my relationships, my relationship with God, my relationship with my health, and yes, also all those things producing results in my business. So how we're going to start off today is I'm going to tell a little story. And I was just noticing, like when I go to church, in the past, like I noticed, like pastors start off with a little story. A lot of times it's like a real cute kind of story that kind of ties into the message later on. And so I'm going to share a story with you guys. This ain't a cute, nice, warm and fuzzy kind of message, okay? So I'm going to begin with the story about a time in my life when I hit essentially what turned out to be my proverbial bottom in my marriage. And so this was after a period of time when my wife and I had been struggling in our relationship. We had been fighting. There was not a lot of chemistry. There was not a lot of connection. The marriage was mainly filled with arguing, fighting, occasional yelling, screaming. Not a whole lot of sex, if any at all, for periods of time. And it got to a real deep, dark place. And this went on for longer than I'd like to admit. So this kind of came to a boiling point one night when I think we were going to go out on a date night. And which I knew in my heart, like, that probably wasn't going to happen because we had hardly been talking to each other that week. When we were talking, we were fighting, and knew deep down in each of our hearts that we didn't want to go on a date night. So I'll save you a lot of the details, but this story essentially ended when my wife was lying on our closet floor, on bare concrete floor, because we had a leak. Had a leak from our shower, which went into the bedroom closet a couple of months before, and I didn't feel like dealing with it, which dealing with it just meant making a phone call to my carpet guy. But I just left the bare concrete floor, and my wife was bawling. She was crying her eyes out, just asking me why I couldn't love her, why I couldn't give her affection, and just begging me to do that, to give her love and affection. That was all she wanted. It's all she was asking from me at that point in time. And I just walked away, left her crying on the ground, calling out for me to just love her and care for her and do what I had promised to do when we said our vows. And I couldn't do it. I walked away and I left her alone. In that situation, that experience with my wife led me to go try to figure out some things. I had to figure out, why was I so angry? Why was I so mad? Why couldn't I love this woman who was laying, crying, bawling her eyes out on our concrete floor, not even knowing at the time that she was pregnant, because she wouldn't tell me. She chose not to tell me because she didn't want to create conflict and stress at a time when we weren't getting along. And to be quite honest, she thought I was possibly going to leave her at that time. She had been talking about other people, about what she was going to do when I left her, because she was pretty sure I was going to leave. And I had some of those thoughts. And I should also say that my wife and I have had a very good marriage over the years, but it hasn't always been great. And that was a time when it was really, really bad. And so although I love in my heart for my wife, I did not have the ability during this time to give her any love at all. It led me on this soul-searching journey, and led to some of the things I'm going to share with you today. One of which, I wasn't fully loving myself unconditionally as God loves me, and that was causing a lot of issues between her because I had never received that full gift of unconditional love. That's not what today's message is about. I'm going to talk about that message later on. But some things that went on was I was feeling like a victim, like in my own body, like I didn't control my thoughts, my actions, my attitudes, my behaviors, and I damn sure wasn't controlling the results that I was experiencing in my life because I was experiencing things that I didn't want. I was like, why was this happening to me? Like I had no control, and I was assessing my situation of where I was in my marriage, and really for the first time in my life, I was thinking that the only way to fix the situation was to leave that situation. Some of you guys know I was in an MMA fight, and I was thinking about tapping out. I was thinking about what dudes do in an MMA fight whenever it gets real tough. When you think you're about to go down, you tap out. And so I was thinking about doing that. So I was down. My wife and I were down at that point in time in our life, but I wasn't out and I wasn't ready to tap out because I loved this woman. But I didn't love myself, and I became determined to find out what the hell was going on. And we've all heard that when you seek, you shall find. So I made up my mind to seek. I wanted to seek out what was going on and how I could create a marriage of my dreams. It's the marriage that I've seen other people have. Relationships I've seen other people have. I wanted to have that. So I'm going to share a scripture with you from Jeremiah 29:12. It says, "Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all of your heart." All right, because a lot of you guys, you're not going all in. And in my life, I hadn't really sought the Lord. I hadn't sought out the questions that I needed to seek out with all of my heart. Okay? So all this begins, the road or the path to peace, prosperity, happiness, connection with God begins with seeking all out, going all in with your heart to seek those answers. So I began to seek, and I really began to find. And what I found is what today's message is all about. And the message is, you were born to create. And this is for every single one of you out there. You were born to create. So you got to understand that God gives us the ability to create all of our results. I shouldn't even say that He gives us the ability. We are creating our results in our life every single day, whether you understand that or not. If you're creating incredible connection, relationships, results in your business, credible body results, then that's something that you're creating. If you're divorced, depressed, overweight, out of shape, bankrupt, guess what? You created that as well. So whether you like it or not, God has allowed us to create what it is that is happening in our life. Good, bad, ugly. It's all on you. Because you were born to create. So my problem was, preach to myself right now, my problem was I was letting life happen to me. I was creating some things, but I was just allowing other things to take hold in my life and just kind of thrust themselves upon me, and I wasn't taking the action to create the type of results and experiences that I really wanted in my heart, that I desired in my heart. So, and part of that reason is, so people say, well, they talk about God, like God, like the magic wand of God, like He's just gonna fix all your stuff, just come down and fix everything. And it doesn't happen that way, because what I've found and what I've learned, what I believe to be true, is God's like a bipartisan God, right? So He's willing to love both sides of you. He's willing to unconditionally love and be supportive of whether you're doing good or you're doing bad. Okay, so whenever Brant is good Brant, like I'm reading, I'm praying, I'm doing all the things that produce positive results in my life, guess what? God's going to love me. He's going to support me. He's going to be there for me. He's like, good job. Love you, bud. Doing great. Guess what? When I'm being bad Brant, when I'm not doing the things I need to do, when I'm drinking or just, hanging out or just wasting time, not loving, supporting my wife, doing all these things that I should be doing, but I'm not doing the things I should be doing, guess what? God's going to say, guess what, Brant? I love you. Like, are you happy with what you're doing? Because the path that you're on is going to be, it's going to produce results that I'm probably not going to like, but I still love you. So He's very bipartisan, meaning that He will love us unconditionally, no matter what, whether we're on the good path or the quote-unquote bad path. The path that He's laid out for us that produces the type of results that we desire, and whenever I'm on the path that doesn't produce the results that we desire. Either way, He's there, but it's up to us. It's up to us, not Him. It's up to us to initiate change, to initiate actions, to take daily actions to produce the results that we want. So, back to that situation. Wife laying on the concrete floor, crying her eyes out, unknowingly to me, with our next baby in her beautiful little belly at that point in time. I had no idea about. And I walked away and began to have to ask myself some really deep, hard questions. Take a self-assessment, if you will. Figure out where I was at in life, how I got here, and where in the hell I was going to go from here. And so I had to ask myself some questions. So I started looking at my life and where I was at, and I realized I had done some pretty freaking awesome stuff. I had created a pretty freaking awesome business that I loved. I had some financial success. I had some beautiful kids that I loved deeply, great relationships, had a beautiful house. Just started looking at some things. Like, I've had 5 surgeries on my, 3 on my knee and 2 on my ankle. But despite that, stay in pretty good shape. So I was giving myself kind of a pat on the back. You know what? I'm a damn hard worker, and I've created a pretty good life. Pretty good. My marriage, not good at all right now. But I was like, I really don't want that. To be honest, I want to experience greatness in my life. And I damn sure don't want to experience what I'm experiencing in my marriage right now, because that just sucked all the way around, and I didn't want it. But then at the same time, as I was looking at all of the good things that I had created in my life, I realized something. And my wife laying on the floor, on the concrete floor, bawling her eyes out, just asking me to love her, me walking away because of my hardness of heart. I had to realize that I was the one that created that situation. I was the one that created that. All the fighting, the disconnect, times of going without sex, without just the love and the affection and the wonderful experiences of marriage, those times, those dark times of marriage, I was the one who created all that, and I had to own that. And at the beginning, it wasn't hard. I mean, it was hard. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult to accept that I created it. Why? Because God gives me, He allows me to create every single one of my results in my life. Not just physical, tangible results, the results in my relationships, the results in my body, the results in my business. It's all up to me. God gives me that ability. Yes, there's some times with divine intervention and some things that will line up, but a lot of that I feel is produced whenever we're doing the work before that. When we're investing the time, seeking Him, seeking out that which is good, that which is pure, that which is going to produce what it is that we're seeking. We're made in His image. Genesis 2:7 says, "Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature." Genesis 1:27. "So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them, male and female. He created them." So, once again, we can create awesome, incredible stuff because that is what God has allowed us to do. But also, Cain killed Abel. All right, so you got to realize that within you, you have the ability to create some awesome, incredible, epic stuff in your life. But at the very same time, you have the ability to do some deep, dark, evil stuff. Dark, dark stuff. Cain killed Abel. You have the ability to be a murderer, to be an adulterer, to be a thief. All these things that we hear about, that's you. That is me. We have that all in us. God has created us with that capability inside of us, inside of our DNA, to do the good and to do the evil. And like I said, no matter what you choose, no matter what you choose in your life, no matter where you're at right now, God is bipartisan God. He's going to love you either way. He's never going to leave or forsake you. All right, so thankfully, His love was still there for me. When I saw it out, even though I wasn't living up to my full capacity, He didn't forsake me. He didn't forsake me, and He was right there for me. And so this is where I had a huge insight about creation, unconditional love. So here's a concept I want you to get. So this was like a mind explosion. So God, the creator of the universe, created heaven and earth, and created you and I in His own image. He created us in His own image. And what is God? God is a creator. So if it's true that like begets like, was it possible that I, being born in the image of the Creator, was also born to create? I was born to create. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, wow. So I started thinking about one time, I remember this one time I had this realization about business. So I was thinking about money, like how the government just prints money, and all great business ideas and entrepreneurs. Essentially, business ideas, business ventures come from just an idea. Okay? Just an idea. An idea of like, we want to do this development, or we're going to take, want to flip a house or go into a certain market. Like all this comes with an idea, or create a partnership. So I started having the thought that if money is an idea, and I'm a born creator, I have like this little mathematical equation in my head. It's like money is an idea plus I'm born to create equals limitless possibilities. So that's a business example. But then I had to realize, like I discussed earlier, that if my relationship was failing, guess what? I created that. I created that. So I need to own that, but also realize that I have the ability to create a turnaround, that I can create experiences, and I can create love and affection and kind words and get flowers and just be creative and seduce and ravish my wife to create the marriage that I desire. So, just understand that God gives us that ability. It's innate within all of us to create the experiences in our life. And not only that, so a lot of people we talk about the God's will thing all the time. Like, what is God's will for my life? And I hear people taking the attitude or the belief of it's sort of a life happens to you attitude, meaning you're not really, you don't really have the ability to create what is going on in your life. You're just waiting for God to do something, like just waiting for something to fall out of the sky, for God to wave his magic wand, for something to happen rather than going out and taking action. Waiting for God to move rather than you going out, taking action every single day, following the principles, the actions that are going to produce what it is that you seek to have in your life. It's also known as walking in the Spirit. Like, you know what? I could be like, wife laying on the ground, marriage sucks right now. I'm just going to well, God, I'm going to wait for you to do something. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for you to change this woman, so she will just fall in line with everything that I want from her, rather than doing what he just said to do, which was for me to change, for me to create an environment to love her unconditionally, to be the man that I was called to be and step up. So that is the big difference in just waiting for something to happen and saying, you know what, I'm going to step out and I'm going to do what I need to do and to create the results that I want to create. After all, God is within me. His Holy Spirit is within me, and he's the creator. Therefore, guess what? Born to create. You can create some just jacked up stuff in your life. You can create some incredible stuff in your life. So really my question is to you right now, knowing, if you believe this message as I do, that you are born to create, that the Creator lives inside of you, stop waiting. Start creating. Today, right now, you can start to create whatever it is you want in your life. Drop the damn excuses. Stop whining, complaining. Look at it in all areas of your life and think about what it is that you are going to do to create what it is that you want. So what am I talking about creation? Yes, in business, you can step out and you can make a whole lot of money. If you just have that belief. Business is an idea. Money is an idea. You are born to create. You go out and you create. You create businesses. You create partnerships. You create deals. You create new ideas. In your relationship, whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, but if you're in a relationship that's damaged, guess what? First thing you need to do is own responsibility for that. 2, figure out what you're going to do to create that relationship, to bring it back, to repair it, to make it just the most incredible relationship that you could ever imagine. What can you do to create that? Are you disconnected from your children or family? What are you going to do to create a relationship, an environment to heal those wounds? So that a year from now, you're like, wow, look back, I created an incredible, incredible, loving relationship with this person who a year ago was disconnected. Because you have that ability within you. What about your health? You're going to keep making excuses, or are you going to create a plan to get your health where it needs to be. What are you going to do about that? And so the more that when I started to dive deeper into this whole just belief that I'm a born creator, I started looking at certain times, like, so I'd be going through, while working in my business, and there's certain times in my business where I get stressed out. All right, so I'll get like pissed off or angry about something, and what I've realized is usually whenever I get in that situation, it's because I'm not creating. I get wrapped up in just some of the monotonous kind of work, or just dealing with some type of situation that's kind of mundane, monotonous, kind of like paperwork kind of stuff, and or dealing with just something that I don't feel like in my heart like it's very fun or challenging. So those are times I'm like I can see now, I'm like, okay, how can I systemize this or get this where I don't have to do it, so I can focus on what I feel in my heart to do is create. And so some of you saying, well, I'm not an entrepreneur, Brant. Like, I don't have a business. Like, I've got this job, like this office job, and I sit at a desk. Guess what? You also can create, new experiences in that job. So, for example, like I've done multiple personality tests on myself as well as my staff to figure out just the ways that we can connect, the way that I can get the most out of my abilities and the most out of their abilities. So we all have different roles in our life, right? So my assistant, she's like a supporter. Like, she's very, very good at like just supporting people, encouraging people. So for her, like, creation may be just to find new ways to support others in their role. And then, like, you may be whatever role, whatever your job is, like whatever your lot in life is right now, if that's where you're choosing to be, or you are choosing to be there, but if that's where you feel called in your heart to be, you can always find new ways to create new experiences, create new ideas to improve and take that wherever you're at in life to the next level, whatever it may be. So just think about that. Every time that I get stressed out, like many times, it's because I'm not creating. I remember I started really getting this concept. My daughter likes to play Barbies, and it's not my favorite thing to do in the world. So anyways, so she wanted to play Barbies. I really didn't want to play Barbies. But she really wanted to play Barbies, so I went and played Barbies. And I kind of caught myself not really being present in the moment and not really like getting all into it as much as she was. So then I was like, wait a second. I create my experiences every single moment. So right now, I'm here with my daughter. She wants to play Barbies. I want to be, to her, the best father in the world. Guess what? I'm going to create a way to make this fun. So we started doing all kinds of stuff, started joking around, having fun, being silly, created just incredible time with her. And so I've done that now, that I'll start to apply this lesson to all areas of my life. Like, how can I make this fun, exciting, create a way to make it new? And so that's how this applies even with your children. Like I knew some dudes, like, they don't even want to hardly spend time with their kids. And it's because they see it as, I don't know how they see it, to be honest, because like I've always wanted to spend time with my kids, but there's some times when what they want to do is not seem very fun to me. But now I'm like, you know what? I can make this fun. I can make this a lasting moment. It's my job to create lasting experience with my children, because God gave me that ability. I choose to exercise that ability. I think that's one of the reasons for you real estate guys, like the juices start flowing. When I go to a new flip deal, like I'm looking at all the numbers, thinking about how are we going to structure this deal? What are we going to do? Are we going to do an addition? We're going to just do a renovate. We're going to get out real quick, fast and easy. Like, look at all the ways, like the juices are flowing, because that's creation. That's creation going on in our minds. And so the funny thing, kind of like the catch-22 with this lesson, I'm going to wrap up with this. The catch-22 to this lesson is when you get this, you believe this like I do, you're born to create. You're born to create. There is no finish line. There is no destination. Like, this is a lifelong pursuit to continually create new things, new experiences, new levels in your life. So I was meeting with one of my business coaches a while back, and we laid out a plan. We laid out a plan on a pretty aggressive and incredible business plan for 2015 that I want to attack and achieve. So we're looking, just after a full day's of work, we're looking at the whiteboard on what we had created and the idea and the outline and the game plan. And my coach asked me what I would feel like at the end of the year when that is accomplished. And so I thought about it, and I said, it will feel rewarding. I will feel a sense of accomplishment, and I will feel financial success, and I'll feel proud. And so he asked me to dive a little bit deeper and asked me what else I would experience and feel. And so after some thought and some discussion with him, the big realization and the truth of the matter is that success in life is never as fulfilling as we think it's going to be. How many times have you reached a certain point? Have you, accomplished something in your life, and, like there's still an emptiness inside. It's like, that wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be. So the reason I believe that is because whenever we accomplish something, an achievement, a business success, a relationship new level, and we get to that point, it's rewarding, but the emptiness comes, and it's not necessarily an emptiness. What I found what it is, it's a desire to continue to create. So what it is, when we reach success, we reach a new level, we get to a certain peak on a mountain. But guess what we see when we get to this mountaintop? There's another mountain. And in order to get to that next mountain, guess what? Sometimes you got to climb down and climb up another mountain to get to another level. So when you reach a peak, it's great, it's freaking awesome. But at the same point in time, consider that feeling of not being totally fulfilled is because God is calling you to create something even greater. You've only reached a certain level of expansion and understanding, and it's time now that you apply the lessons that you've learned to go to the next level in your relationship with God, your relationship with your loved ones, your health and your fitness, and with your business. This is the game of life, my friends, to continually increase and expand in your knowledge, your learning, your experiences, and continue to create. It's all about creation, my friends, and I'm going to leave you with this. If you would just, with your whole heart, seek, I promise that you will find. When you find, if you will apply the lessons that you found, and as you begin to apply those lessons that you've learned and that you found, if you will seek to create awesome, incredible results in your relationships, your relationship with God, in your body, in your business, that you will begin to create the results that you're seeking after. Because God has created you in His image to create. And when you're creating, you're pleasing Him. When you are not creating, please consider that those are the times in your life when you are letting life happen to you. And those are the times when you're on the path that can ultimately lead to the dark, destructive areas of your life. So when you feel like that, consider finding ways to create everything that goes on in your life, taking control, and understanding that God the Creator dwells inside of you if you allow Him inside, and that you can begin to create all that you seek to desire in your life. That's all I got. You were born to create, so go out and do it. Love you guys. All the best.